The most dangerous prison is not built with walls. It is built with your own attention. Every day, something asks for your energy. Every day, someone asks for your reaction. Every day, the world places a hook inside your mind and waits for you to pull against it. And the more you pull, the deeper the hook goes. You say you are tired because life is heavy, but most of the time life is not heavy. What is heavy is carrying things that were never yours to hold. Look carefully at your life, not emotionally, not dramatically, honestly. How much of your peace is lost because you keep feeding what drains you? You check the message that makes your chest tighten. You answer the person who only appears when they need something. You return to the same thoughts that poison your morning before the day even begins. You scroll through lives that make you feel behind. You explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You hold guilt for choices that were necessary. You carry anger towards someone who has already moved on. You stay loyal to habits that are quietly destroying your focus, your health, your money, your spirit, and then you wonder why you feel empty. You are not empty because you have nothing. You are empty because you are leaking energy from too many places. Detachment is not becoming cold. Detachment is not pretending you do not care. Detachment is not running away from people, work, love, family, or responsibility. Detachment is learning the difference between what deserves your life force and what only consumes it. A weak person detaches by hating. A wise person detaches by seeing clearly. When you see clearly, you do not need hatred. You do not need revenge. You do not need a dramatic exit. You simply stop feeding what makes you smaller. Many people misunderstand peace. They think peace comes when everything outside becomes calm. But the outside world has never promised you calm. People will still speak. Problems will still arrive. Plans will still break. Some people will disappoint you even after you gave them your best. The body will get tired. The mind will create fear. Life will continue to test the doorway of your attention. Peace is not when life stops knocking. Peace is when you stop opening the door to everything. There are things draining you right now because you keep negotiating with them. You know the relationship is pulling you away from yourself, but you call it loyalty. You know the habit is weakening your discipline, but you call it comfort. You know the argument is useless, but you call it proving your point. You know the environment is damaging your ambition, but you call it belonging. You know the old version of you is dead, but you keep visiting the grave and asking why it cannot breathe. This is not kindness. This is self-betrayal. The first step to detaching from what drains you is to stop lying about what drains you. Do not make it spiritual when it is obvious. Do not make it complicated because you are afraid to act. Your body already knows. Your nervous system already knows. Notice what happens after you leave certain people. Notice what happens after you spend 1 hour on certain apps. Notice what happens after you break your routine. Notice what happens after you say yes when your whole inner being says no. Your energy is always reporting the truth. The problem is that you keep ignoring the report. There is a kind of tiredness sleep cannot fix. It comes from living against yourself. It comes from smiling when your soul is exhausted. It comes from forcing connection where there is no respect. It comes from chasing approval from people who do not even approve of themselves. It comes from building a life where your outer image looks acceptable, but your inner world is begging for silence. Detach from the need to be understood by everyone. This one alone will free half of your mind. You explain, then explain again, then explain with better words, then explain with more emotion, then explain with proof. And still, they twist your meaning. Why? Because some people are not confused. They are committed to their version of you. You cannot heal a conversation with someone who benefits from misunderstanding you. When your intention is clear and your actions are clean, do not keep standing in the courtroom of other people's opinions. Let them think. Let them speak. Let them create stories. A person who is hungry for gossip will eat anything. Do not become food. Silence is not weakness. Silence is often the moment your dignity returns. But silence is difficult because the ego wants the final word. The ego says, make them see. The ego says, make them regret. The ego says, make them know you were right. The ego always wants victory outside, even if it creates war inside. The disciplined person asks a better question. Is this worth my peace? Most things are not. You do not need to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not need to correct every false opinion. You do not need to respond to every emotional disturbance. You do not need to prove your growth to people who only knew your weakness. You do not need to perform healing for an audience that enjoyed your pain. Detach, not loudly, not bitterly, precisely. There is power in leaving without turning your departure into a performance. Some of you are drained because you are addicted to emotional noise. When life becomes calm, you feel uncomfortable. When someone treats you with consistency, you become suspicious. When there is no chaos, you create it in your mind. You say you want peace, but your nervous system is trained for storms. So when peace comes, you mistake it for boredom. This is why detachment requires retraining the body. It is not only a decision in the mind, it is a practice in the bones. You must teach yourself that calm is safe. You must teach yourself that distance is not abandonment. You must teach yourself that not reacting does not mean you lost. You must teach yourself that being unavailable to drama is not arrogance. It is maintenance. A garden does not apologize for having a fence. Your life needs a fence. Without boundaries, your energy becomes public property. Anyone can walk in, anyone can take, anyone can plant their fear in your soil, anyone can leave their trash inside your mind. Then you look at your life and wonder why nothing beautiful grows there. You need boundaries not because people are evil, but because your attention is sacred. What you repeatedly allow becomes your atmosphere. What you repeatedly consume becomes your thinking. What you repeatedly tolerate becomes your standard. What you repeatedly chase becomes your master. Look at what you chase and you will see what controls you. Some chase love. Some chase validation. Some chase money. Some chase status. Some chase attention. Some chase the past. Some chase people who are not running away by accident but by choice. And the chase drains you because it places your worth outside yourself. When you chase, you tell your soul, I am not enough unless I catch this. That is why you feel desperate. That is why your peace depends on a reply, a result, a number, a compliment, a sign. You have placed your inner stability in the hands of something unstable. Detach from chasing Mu with intention, yes. Work hard, yes. Love deeply, yes. Build, create, serve, improve, yes. But do not chase like a starving spirit. Do not abandon your center to beg life for crumbs. What is meant for you still requires effort, but it will not require you to destroy yourself to keep it. Many people do not detach because they fear loss, but they never ask the sharper question, what am I losing by holding on? You are afraid to lose the person, but you are already losing yourself. You are afraid to lose the opportunity, but you are already losing your health. You are afraid to lose the image, but you are already losing your truth. You are afraid to lose the comfort, but you are already losing your future. Sometimes holding on is the real loss. The branch does not become weaker when the dead leaf falls. The tree does not mourn every leaf that must go. It releases because life moves through release. The hand that refuses to open cannot receive. The mind that refuses to empty cannot see. The heart that refuses to let go cannot heal. You want new energy, but your life is full of old attachments. You want a new beginning, but you keep sleeping beside old emotions. You want peace, but you keep entertaining the same voices. No, be honest. You cannot build a clean life with dirty habits. You cannot build a focused mind with constant distraction. You cannot build self-respect while continuing to betray your own boundaries. Detachment begins with one uncomfortable sentence. This is not good for me anymore. Say it without drama. This conversation is not good for me anymore. This habit is not good for me anymore. This place is not good for me anymore. This version of myself is not good for me anymore. This fantasy is not good for me anymore. This anger is not good for me anymore. This waiting is not good for me anymore. And once you see it, you must respect what you see. Clarity without action becomes another form of suffering. Many people are not confused. They are cowardly with their own truth. They know what must change, but they want change without discomfort. They want peace without discipline. They want freedom without loss. They want healing without withdrawal from what injured them. That is childish. Freedom has a price. The price is the old attachment. You cannot carry everything into the next level. Some habits cannot come. Some conversations cannot come. Some friendships cannot come. Some pleasures cannot come. Some excuses cannot come. Some identities cannot come. The door is narrow for a reason. It forces you to choose. And this is where many fail. They want transformation, but they still want to be liked by the old environment. They want growth, but they still want comfort from the same patterns. They want strength, but they keep feeding weakness in private. You do not become free by wishing. You become free by practicing separation from what controls you. Start with your reactions. Every time something disturbs you, pause before you obey the disturbance. The message arrives. Pause, the insult appears. Pause, the memory returns. Pause, the craving rises. Pause, the fear speaks. Pause. The pause is where your freedom begins. Without the pause, you are a puppet. Something happens and you move. Someone speaks and you burn. A thought appears and you follow. A desire rises and you kneel. You call this personality, but much of it is programming. The pause cuts the string. In that small space, you can ask, is this mine to carry? Is this mine to answer? Is this mine to fix? Is this mine to believe? Most of what drains you will collapse under these questions. Not every feeling is an instruction. Not every fear is a prophecy. Not every desire is wisdom. Not every memory deserves a home. Not every person deserves access. The mind produces noise. You do not have to bow to every sound. Detach from the thought that every problem needs your emotional participation. Some problems need action, not anxiety. Some problems need patience, not panic. Some problems need distance, not discussion. Some problems need acceptance, not endless analysis. You drain yourself because you confuse worrying with caring. You think if you suffer enough in your mind, life will reward you for being concerned. It will not. Worry is not devotion. Worry is imagination used against yourself. If you can act, act. If you cannot act, breathe. Anything else is self-punishment. There is a strange addiction to suffering in human beings. People hold pain because pain gives them identity. They say, this is what happened to me. They repeat the story until it becomes a name. They protect the wound because without it, they do not know who they are. But listen carefully. Your wound may explain you. but it must not lead you. Detach from the identity of being hurt. Yes, they betrayed you. Yes, you were disappointed. Yes, you lost time. Yes, you gave too much. Yes, you were not seen when you needed to be seen. But how long will you keep drinking poison to honor the wound? At some point, healing requires you to stop making pain the center of your personality. You are allowed to remember. You are not allowed to live there. Manner is a teacher. It becomes a prison when you visit it more than your present life. Detach from the past by extracting the lesson and leaving the weight. Take the wisdom, not the chain. Take the warning, not the bitterness. Take the clarity, not the identity. A person who hurt you once can continue hurting you for years if you keep giving them space inside your mind. They may no longer be in your life, but your attention keeps rebuilding them. Your anger feeds them. Your replaying feeds them. Your imaginary conversations feed them. Your desire for their apology feeds them. You say you want them gone, but you keep inviting them through memory. Detach by refusing to rehearse your pain. When the mind starts the old movie, stand up inside yourself and say, I have already watched this. I know how it ends. Then return to the breath, return to the task, return to the body, return to the present. This is not easy. Do not expect easy. Easy is what made you weak in the first place. You must train. A distracted mind does not detach. It only jumps from one attachment to another. Today it is a person. Tomorrow it is a fear. Next week it is a fantasy. Then a craving. Then a comparison. Then a regret. The object changes, but the slavery remains. Training means you stop worshipping whatever appears. Sit quietly for a few minutes each day and watch the mind. You will see how restless it is. It wants stimulation, it wants problems, it wants stories, it wants to go backward and forward. It wants anything except stillness. At first, you may feel worse in silence because silence reveals how noisy you are. That is not failure, that is diagnosis. Most people never discover themselves because they are never quiet long enough to meet what is inside. They keep music on, videos on, conversations on, notifications on, plans on. They fear stillness because stillness shows them the truth. They are exhausted, scattered, hungry for approval, carrying emotions they never processed. Detachment requires stillness because you cannot release what you refuse to see. Sit, breathe, watch, do not fight the thoughts, do not follow them. Let them pass like clouds. A cloud does not need your anger to move. A thought does not need your obedience to dissolve. The more you observe, the less you identify. This is important. You are not every thought you think. You are not every emotion you feel. You are not every urge that rises. You are the awareness that can notice them. When sadness appears, you can say, sadness is here. Not, I am sadness. When anger appears, anger is here. Not, I am anger. When fear appears, fear is here. Not, I am fear. This small change creates space. Space creates choice. Choice creates freedom. What drains you often drains you because you have no space between yourself and the experience. Someone criticizes you and you become the criticism. Someone leaves and you become abandonment. A plan fails and you become failure. A memory appears and you become the past. No, you are the one watching. Stand there. Detach from comparison because comparison is theft wearing the mask of motivation. You look at another person's life and punish yourself with incomplete information. You see their result, not their sacrifice. You see their smile, not their private war. You see their success, not their cost. You see their relationship, not their hidden distance. You see their body, not their discipline or their insecurity. You see their money, not their emptiness or their work. And then you use their surface to attack your depth. Foolish. Your path is not late because someone else arrived somewhere earlier. A seed does not curse itself because the tree is taller. The seed has its own timing, but it must still grow. Do not use timing as an excuse, but do not use someone else's timing as a weapon against yourself. Detach from the need to appear successful before you have become stable. Some of you are more committed to looking healed than actually healing. You want people to see your glow, your comeback, your power, your new life. But real transformation is not always beautiful in the beginning. Sometimes it looks like loneliness. Sometimes it looks like saying no and shaking afterward. Sometimes it looks like deleting the number and crying. Sometimes it looks like sitting in your room while everyone else is outside, because you finally understand your future needs more from you than your distractions do. Do not rush to be seen. Build in silence. A foundation is always underground. That does not make it unimportant. It makes it responsible for everything above. Detach from applause. Applause is dangerous when it becomes food. If people cheer, you rise. If people ignore you, you collapse. This means they own the button of your spirit. Take it back. Do the work because the work is right. Live clean because your soul deserves a clean house. Train your body because your body carries your life. Guard your words because words create karma in the mind. Keep promises to yourself because broken self-promises destroy confidence quietly. You do not need an audience for discipline. In fact, discipline done without an audience is often the purest kind. Detach from people who only respect your absence after abusing your presence. There are people who will not value your peace until you remove your availability. They call when they need. They disappear when you need. They drain your patience, then accuse you of changing when you finally become quiet. They mistake your kindness for a permanent resource. Do not be angry. Be educated. When someone shows you how they handle your heart, learn. When someone shows you they only love your usefulness, learn. When someone shows you that your boundaries offend them, learn. When someone shows you they are comfortable taking from you, but uncomfortable respecting you, learn the lesson is not to hate them. The lesson is to stop volunteering for the same pain. A compassionate person without discernment becomes a target. Compassion does not mean unlimited access. Compassion does not mean rescuing people from consequences. Compassion does not mean bleeding so others can feel warm. You can wish someone well from a distance. You can forgive without returning. You can understand someone's pain without letting their pain become permission to damage you. This is maturity. Detach from saving people who do not want to be responsible. You cannot breathe for another person. You cannot wake up for another person. You cannot heal someone who is addicted to their own excuses. You can offer a hand, but you cannot become their legs. You can speak truth, but you cannot force them to hear. You can love someone, but you cannot live their life for them. And when you try, you lose your own. Some people call this love. Often it is control disguised as care. You want them to change so you can feel safe. You want them to improve so your investment is not wasted. You want them to become who you imagined, not who they are choosing to be. See clearly. Love without clarity becomes attachment. Attachment says, I need you to be different so I can be okay. Love says, I see you as you are, and I will not abandon myself to keep the illusion alive. Detach from illusions. This may hurt more than detaching from people, because sometimes you are not attached to the person. You are attached to the version of them you created. You are attached to potential. You are attached to the first days. You are attached to the apology you hope will come. You are attached to the future you build in your head. You are attached to the idea that your suffering will eventually be rewarded. But potential is not a place to live. Potential without action is imagination. Potential without consistency is a trap. Potential without respect is a beautiful cage. Look at patterns, not promises. Promises are easy. Patterns are truth. A person's pattern is their real language. A habit's pattern is its real cost. Your own pattern is your real level. Do not listen only to what is said. Watch what repeats. What repeats is what rules. If disrespect repeats, believe it. If neglect repeats, believe it. If laziness repeats, believe it. If distraction repeats, believe it. If self-sabotage repeats, believe it. Not to condemn yourself, but to finally stop pretending. Detachment is not denial. Detachment is the end of denial. You cannot detach from what drains you while still romanticizing it. Stop making your chains look beautiful. That toxic connection is not passion. It is instability. That constant overworking is not ambition. It may be avoidance. That endless scrolling is not rest. It is sedation. That people-pleasing is not kindness. It is fear. That jealousy is not love. It is possession. That anger is not strength. It is pain looking for a weapon. That fantasy is not vision. It is escape without discipline. Name things correctly. Once you name them correctly, they lose some power. A snake called a necklace is still a snake. Detach from the version of yourself that enjoys being drained because it gives you an excuse not to rise. This is uncomfortable but necessary. Sometimes people stay exhausted because exhaustion protects them from responsibility. If you are always overwhelmed, you never have to build. If you are always heartbroken, you never have to commit to your future. If you are always distracted, you never have to face your lack of discipline. If you are always blaming others, you never have to look at your own choices. Pain can become a hiding place. Leave the hiding place. You were not born only to recover from other people's behavior. You were not born only to explain your wounds. You were not born only to survive your own patterns. There is work for you to do, but it requires energy. And energy returns when leakage stops. Every morning, ask yourself, where is my energy leaking? Is it leaking through unnecessary conversations? Is it leaking through resentment? Is it leaking through poor sleep? Is it leaking through bad food? Is it leaking through comparison? Is it leaking through trying to control what cannot be controlled? Is it leaking through saying yes too quickly? Is it leaking through chasing someone's approval? Is it leaking through unfinished tasks? Is it leaking through the phone in your hand before your feet touch the ground? Do not answer beautifully. Answer truthfully. Then close one leak, not 10. 1. The undisciplined mind wants a dramatic life transformation by tomorrow. The trained mind understands that one closed leak every day becomes a different life. Detach from what drains you by simplifying your inputs. Your mind is not designed to hold the whole world, yet you pour the whole world into it before breakfast. News, opinions, messages, images, arguments, tragedies, advertisements, comparisons, temptations. Then you wonder why you cannot focus. You are not weak. You are overloaded. But if you keep choosing overload, then weakness becomes your responsibility. Protect the first hour of your day. Do not give it to noise. The first hour is the gatekeeper. If you begin by reacting, you train the mind to be a servant. If you begin by breathing, moving, praying, writing, cleaning, training, reading, planning, you train the mind to be a leader. How you begin the day tells your energy who is in charge. Do not wake up and immediately enter other people's worlds. Return to your own first. Breathe before you consume. Move before you sit. Choose before you react. The world can wait a little. Your soul has waited long enough. Detach from urgency that is not truly urgent. Many things scream because they know if they spoke calmly, you would ignore them. Drama screams, temptation screams, insecurity screams, marketing screams, ego screams, wisdom rarely screams. It waits. If you are always responding to the loudest thing, your life will be led by fools. Learn to listen for what is quiet but true.